Okay, this is the front half of the review sheet for three-dimensional figures. Okay, let's get started. Number one, it says use the formulas to find lateral area or lateral surface area and total surface area of the given shapes. So first of all, this is a cone. So for a cone, let's find lateral surface area first. I'm going to call it LSA on this. It does say LA on our piece of paper down here, but that again stands for lateral surface area also. So lateral surface area, if we look at the formula chart, the formula for lateral surface area of a cone is pi r L. Pi times r times L. Pi, r stands for radius, which in this case would be 12. And L stands for slant height, which would be 21. We're going to go ahead and leave this in terms of pi. So all we have to do is multiply the two numbers together, 12 times 21, and we end up with 252 pi. And that is our total, or this is our lateral surface area. Next, we're going to do total surface area, which we call SA. Our total surface area for a cone is pi RL plus pi r squared. Okay, pi RL plus pi r squared. So first of all, pi RL, we just did this part, so we can go ahead and plug in 252 pi down here for this. So 252 pi plus pi r squared. Well, r is radius, which we said was 12, and we square that. We can go ahead and multiply these together. 12 squared, which is 12 times 12, and we get 144, so we get 252 pi plus 144 pi. If you add those together, you end up with 396 pi, and this would be our total surface area, 396 pi. The next question, number 2. Okay, it's asking for, this is actually not number 2, it's just the next one in our list. But the exact same thing, we're going to find the lateral surface area and the total surface area. Okay, so lateral surface area. We need to figure out what this shape is first. If we notice, this is a triangle, and then there's rectangles connecting to another triangle, meaning that this is going to be a triangular prism. Since it's a prism, lateral surface area is P times H. P stands for perimeter of the base. If you remember, the base of a triangular prism is a triangle. It's always named after the base. So since it's a triangular prism, the base is a triangle. So we want the perimeter of the base. Well, the perimeter is add up all the sides. Well, if we notice on this triangle, we have this is 6, this is 8, and if you look all the way back in the back, this part is 10. If this is 10, that means also up in the front, this is 10. So perimeter, 6 plus 8 plus 10. 10 plus 8 is 18. 18 plus 6 is 24. So we get perimeter 24. The height is the distance between the two bases, which would be 29. 24 times 29 is 696. And that would be our lateral surface area. Next, we're going to do total surface area, SA. Our total surface area for a prism is PH plus 2B. So PH we already found was 696. 2. Big B, if you remember, big B stands for area of the base. So we're going to do that separate over here. Area of the base. The base, again, is a triangle. To find the area of a triangle, we said base times height divided by 2. Base is 8. Height is 6. And then we're going to divide that by 2. 8 times 6 is 48. Divide that by 2. We get 24. So we're going to go ahead and plug that in. 24. And then we can go ahead and multiply these out. 2 times 24 gives us 48. So we get 696 plus 48. Add those together, and you end up with 744. Okay, the next one. This shape is a cylinder. So if we're finding lateral surface area of a cylinder, the lateral surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r h. So we're going to start plugging some stuff in. Our radius, r, how would we find that? Well, we know all the way across the circle, which we call the diameter. That would be 14. To find the radius, you just divide that by 2, so you get 7. The height is this distance right here, and we get that to be 15. So multiply these numbers out, we get 2 times 7 times 15. 2 times 7 is 14. 14 times 15 is 210. So we get 210 pi. We're going to go ahead and leave it in terms of pi. The next one, total surface area. Our total surface area, the equation for a cylinder is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. 2 pi RH we just found was 210 pi. Then we have 2 times pi times radius, which we already found was 7. And we square that. 7 squared is 49. 49 times 2 is 98, so we get 98 pi. And that is being added to our 210 pi. If you add these two together, 210 plus 98 gives us 308. Then we tag along that pi. Total surface area, 308 pi. Next question. This is a very flat rectangular prism. Now why is it a rectangular prism? Because the base of this prism is a rectangle. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and find lateral surface area. We'll do that first over here. Lateral surface area. The lateral surface area of a prism, remember we just did it, was P times H. P stands for perimeter. We're going to go ahead and call the bottom of this shape the base. Okay, the bottom. So that is a rectangle. In order to find the perimeter of that base, well, this side is 19. The back is also 19. This side is 5, and the left side also is 5. So add those up for perimeter, 19 plus 19. And then we're also going to add in 5 plus 5. So 19 plus 19 is 38, 5 plus 5 is 10, 38 plus 10 is 48. Our height is the distance between the two bases, 4. 48 times 4, we get 192. I know I haven't mentioned it on the questions previously, but I guess we should talk about units here. On this problem, they're all in meters, and this is area, so our units are meters squared. Okay. For total surface area SA, our equation is pH plus 2b. We already know what pH is. It's 192 plus 2 times big B. Again, big B is equal to the area of the base. Well, the base is a rectangle, so to find the area, you say base times height, or length times width. The base would be 19, the height would be 5, or length times width, 19 times 5. And 19 times 5 gives us 95. So we're going to go ahead and plug that in. And we end up multiplying these together. 2 times 95, we get 190. So we're going to say 192 plus 190. If we add these two together, we get 382. And that would be our total surface area. Again, meters squared. The next one, this is the start of number 2. This is saying find the volume of the given shapes, and we're going to round to the nearest tenth if necessary. Although on any of them with pi in it, I'm going to continue to use pi instead. So this is a rectangular prism. So to look at rectangular prism, to find the volume, it's big B times H on our formula chart. Big B again stands for the area of the base. Well, the area of the base, since it's a rectangle, is length times width. So this whole thing comes out to be length times width times height. So all it is the three numbers multiplied together. So 14 times 11 times 4. If you put all these in the calculator, multiply them all out, you end up with 616, and that would be our volume. For units on this one, on volume, it's always your unit, and then it's cubed. In this case, it's feet, so we're going to use feet cubed. Next problem. In this case, it's also a prism, but this case it's a triangular prism. So it's a little bit different. Our volume is also equal to big B times H. Okay, but big B, the area of the base, well now the base is a triangle, so we need to do something a little bit different because the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. In this case, if you look at this triangle, I know I'm not that great at outlining. We have that triangle, so this I'm going to call the height of the triangle, which is 2, and put a little straight mark, 2. And this, what I'm going to call the base, would be 1. So we're going to say 1 for the base times the height, 2, and then divide that by 2. Well, 1 times 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So actually, big B, area of the base, is 1. Multiplied by the height. The height of the prism now is the distance between the two bases, so we get 17. 1 times 17 is 17. This is meters cubed. This next one, this is a cylinder, so since it has circles involved, I'm going to leave in terms of pi. So volume of a cylinder is big B times H, just like a prism is. Big B in this case is a circle, so the area of the base, area of a circle, is pi r squared. So our equation is actually pi r squared times the height. Radius is 4. We square that, r squared, and our height, distance between the two bases, is 11. 4 squared is 16. Oop. So we get pi times 16 times 11. 16 times 11 is 176. We get 176 pi. The units in this case is inches. Since it's volume, it's inches cubed. Next question. This one's a little bit more involved. This is actually two shapes in one. If you notice, we have on the bottom a rectangular prism. Then above that is going to be a pyramid. So how would we find the volume of this? We would have to find the volume of each piece separately, then we add them together. So I'm going to do the bottom first. The bottom is a rectangular prism, so I'm going to write prism. And find the volume of the prism first. How do you find the volume of the prism? We said before it was big B times H. This is volume. But since it's a rectangular prism, we said we can use length times width times height. So multiply the three numbers together. 2.5 times 3 times 2. Okay, if you were to multiply all these out together, you end up getting 15, and that would be our volume of our prism. Okay, we're not done yet. Now we need to find the volume of the pyramid. The volume of a pyramid is 1/3 big B times H. Okay, we have 1/3 big B. Big B stands for area of the base. The base in this case is going to be a rectangle. Almost looks like a square, but it's not quite, because if I know that this on the bottom is 2.5, up here is also 2.5. This is 3, meaning this is 3. So it's not quite a square. It's close to a square, but not quite. So the area is of a rectangle would be base times height, or length times width, would be 2.5 times 3. 2.5 times 3 gives us 7.5, so we're going to plug that in. And H, height, would be the height of our pyramid, which is 1.5. Multiply these together. 7.5 times 1.5 gives us 11.25. Multiply that by 1/3, and we get 3.75. This would be the volume of the pyramid. To find the total, we just add the two up. 15 plus 3.75. 15.375 is 18.75, and this is our total volume. For units on this one, since it's feet and it's volume, it's feet cubed. The next one, this is just a pyramid. It's a little bit different than the one we just did, because whenever we have a pyramid, the volume is 1/3 big B times h. The biggest thing that we need to notice is we don't actually have height in this example. Okay, height is missing. So we need to find this. So first of all, this base is going to be a square. This is a square pyramid, meaning if this side is 12, this side is 12, the back side is also 12, and the left side is also 12. All four sides are 12. So we're going to start plugging some stuff in. So we get 1/3 big B. Big B is area of the base. Well, since we just said the base is a square, so we would say 12 times 12. 12 times 12 is 144, so we can plug that in. Then we're going to use the height, but we don't know the height, so we need to find the height. In order to do that, we can set up a little triangle connecting the height, part of the base, and the slant height. This is a right triangle, so if we know two of the values, we can use Pythagorean theorem to find the height. We already know the slant height is 10, and we can find the part of the base because we know that it's going to be half one of the sides. So if this side is 12, take half of it, this part is going to be 6. Now we can use Pythagorean theorem to say 6 squared plus x squared is equal to 10 squared, our x being our height. The reason that 10 is over here by itself is because it's our c, it's our hypotenuse across from the right angle. 6 squared is 36, plus x squared is equal to 10 squared is 100. Subtract 36 from both sides, we get x squared is equal to 64. To get rid of squared, we take the square root, so we get x is equal to square root of 64, but the square root of 64 is 8, meaning our height is 8. If we multiply all these three numbers together, 144 times 8 times 1/3, we get 384. That is our final answer with feet cubed. Feet cubed. The next one, this is another pyramid. On this case, again, the base is a square base. So we can say volume of a pyramid, 1/3 big B times h. 1/3 big B is area of the base, which in this case is 12 times 12. 12 times 12 is 144, which is the exact same thing as what we got in the last example. Then we have the height. The height in this case, it's given to us. It's 10. So 1/3 times 144 times 10, we end up with 480. 400, I'll rewrite that. This is centimeters cubed for volume. This question is very similar to the one we did a couple ago with the rectangular prism on the bottom and then the pyramid on the top. In this case, it's now a rectangular prism on the bottom and a weird looking thing at the top, actually. If you notice, this is half a circle or a semicircle, and if it's a circle with as a base with two bases, circles extended, if you think about the entire thing, it would actually be a cylinder, but we don't have the whole cylinder. We just have half of a cylinder up on the top. So what we're going to do is find each piece separately and then add them together. We're going to start with the prism. It is a rectangular prism, so the volume is length times width times height, just the three numbers multiplied together. 5, times 11 times 6. 5 times 11 times 6 gives us 330. So this would be the volume of the prism. The next thing is the cylinder, or in this case, half of a cylinder. So what we're going to do is find the volume of the full cylinder and then divide it by 2 to get just half of it. So if we're taking a look at this, this is our base, this is a circle. And if we know the volume of a cylinder is big B times h. Again, big B is the area of the base, while the area of a circle is pi r squared. So we multiply that by our height. R is the radius. Well, we got to think about this a little bit because it doesn't tell us any numbers up here. It does tell us that this part is 5, so that means this up here is 5. And this is all the way across the circle, so that would be our diameter. The radius would be half of that, which would be 2.5. So our radius is 2.5. Our height is the distance between the two circles, between the bases. That would be this distance right here, which is 11. So our height is 11. 2.5 squared gives us 6.25. I'm going to go ahead and write that down, 6.25. Then we can multiply that by 11, and that gives us 68.75 pi. That would be our volume for the cylinder. If we're going to add these up, though, they need to be in the same terms. So since the prism doesn't have a pi attached with it, we don't want the prism to have, or the cylinder to have a pi along with it either. So we're going to go ahead and put this in the calculator, go ahead and multiply 68.75 times pi. We end up getting a pretty long decimal, but we're going to go ahead and round it so we get 215.98. If it says up at the top to round to the nearest tenth, then we need to say, look at the 9. Well, the number after 9 tells us 8 means round up. So 9 becomes 10. So instead of 215.0, we actually need to move this up because it's 10. So 216.0 or just 216. So now we're going to add those two numbers together, the total volume. To find total volume, we say 330 for the prism plus 216 for the cylinder, although we missed something. This is for the whole cylinder, isn't it? We don't want the whole cylinder, though. We only want half the cylinder. So we actually need to divide this by 2. So 216 divided by 2 is 108. So we don't want this 216, we want 108. So we're going to add in 108. So 330 plus 108 gives us 438. So that one was a little bit more involved, but it wasn't that bad. The units in this case is millimeters. It's volume, so millimeters cubed. The next problem, again, is a cone. In this case, we're finding the volume of the cone. The volume of a cone is similar to a pyramid, 1/3 big B times h. Big B stands for area of the base. The base is a circle, so the area of a circle is pi r squared. Radius is 7. 7 squared is 49, so we get 49 pi as our area of the base, or big B. H is the height, which tells us it's 14. Now we can multiply all these numbers together, so we get 49 times 14 times 1/3, and we get 228.6666667, so we're going to round to 0.7, then we carry along our pi. This would be our volume, 228.7 pi. Our units is yards. Volume means cubed. We've got one more question on the front of the page. This one is a sphere. We're going to find the volume of the sphere. The volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. The only thing that changes for this is our radius, because 4/3 is just a number we multiply by, pi is just a number we multiply by, radius is the only thing that can change. In this case, radius is 5. 5 cubed, which is the same thing as saying 5 times 5 times 5, is 125. And things messed up on me. Here we go, 125. If you multiply 125 times 4/3, these two numbers, multiply those, leave it in terms of pi, you end up with a pretty long decimal. You get 166.7, we're going to go ahead and round it, pi. And this would be our volume, 166.7 pi. Our units in this case is, again, millimeters volume cubed. Okay, this is it for the front of the page. The next video is going to talk about the back of the page.